Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I got another episode of Field Test. This is a video series where you guys let me know what loadout you would like me to try in a future episode, so what weapon and all of its attachments by leaving a comment down below. I pick from the top rated comments and put one of them through its paces and let you guys know why I liked or why I disliked your particular loadout. And for today, I'm going to be trying out the M417 with the Foregrip holographic sight and 93R sidearm. So the M417 really isn't all that different from the other semi-automatic rifles out there. If you pretty much know how to use one, you know how to use all of them. That being said, this is still one of my favorite ones to use, so there's got to be some sort of distinction here. And so to kind of get the basics out of the way, the damage model of this bad boy is going to do 50 damage up close, and that's going to drop off to 37.5 damage at long range, which I believe is around 75 meters since you are using, a high-powered rifle. Of course, this is not going to do as much as the bolt-action rifles. They are always going to do more damage, and if I think someone asked me that before, why don't the semi-automatic rifles do as much as the bolt-action rifles? Well, it's because they'd be completely overpowered. But as for the recoil on this bad boy, it's one of the most manageable out of the semi-automatic rifles. It's going to have a slight tendency to kick on over to the right, and it also has, I believe, the lowest vertical recoil. So if you're looking for an extremely manageable semi-automatic rifle for the Recon class, then the M417 is probably going to be right up your alley. Not only that, but it has a very fast reload time. If you have a bolt in the chamber, you're going to reload in 1.8 seconds, but if you've gone through all of your ammunition, it's going to take you 2.4 seconds, and that is very, very fast. And I was kind of surprised when I saw that, because that is very similar to the ever popular M417, or which kind of makes sense, and the popular M16A3. So if you like to have a fast, who doesn't like to have a fast reload on their gun? It's always advantageous to not have to go through that entire, animation, or a very long animation. So that is another great thing about this weapon. Where the weapon starts to run into some problems is when you look at its bullet velocity. It's on the lower end for the Recon class. It's going to have a bullet velocity of 450 meters per second, and the reason why this is important is because the slower the bullet velocity, the slower it's going to get to the target, so you're going to have to compensate more for bullet drop. So that means you're going to, for longer range engagements, you're going to have to aim higher above the target's head, and you're also going to have to lead the target more if they're running perpendicular to you, because it's not going to travel as fast, and if it's not traveling as fast, that means that you're going to have to lengthen that gap in front of your target when you're trying to line up the shot, and that can be hard to compensate for in some situations. And so if you are looking for a weapon that's going to do really well at long range engagements, then the M417 may not be the best weapon of choice. I mean, it's still going to do really well up close, and that's where I like to use it. I like to play with the aggressive mindset, and it doesn't have a problem in those engagements, because you're really not going to have to worry about bullet drop at all. But if you're playing on, let's say, Operation Firestorm, or on one of the new Armored Kill maps, then you're going to have to, you're going to come across a lot of situations where bullet drop becomes more of a factor, and the M417 is not going to perform as well as some of the other semi-automatic rifles out there. So if you are looking, like I said, if you're looking for something more long range, then the M417 probably isn't going to be the weapon of choice for you. As for the weapon's rounds per minute, it's about average. It has an RPM of 295, but in my opinion, this really doesn't mean a whole lot for the semi-automatic rifles. Really, the only situation where a higher RPM is going to make a difference is if you're in a close encounter engagement and you're just firing from the hip, shooting as quickly as possible, hoping that one of your shots lands. I mean, that's the only time that is going to matter, because if you go for a medium range target, you're not going to want to click the button as quickly as possible, because if you do that, there's absolutely no way you're going to be able to manage the recoil, and probably every single one of your shots, maybe excluding the first shot, is going to miss. You're going to want to kind of take it slow and steady. So, RPM for the semi-automatic rifles, like I said, in some situations is an important factor, but for the most part, you're not going to want to spam it as quickly as possible, and it's really not going to make that much of a difference. As for your attachments, you have here that I should try out the Foregrip And maybe I'm missing something here, guys, because every once in a while I get a recommendation to try out a semi-automatic rifle with the Foregrip attachment. And to the best of my knowledge, the way that the Foregrip works is that it reduces your horizontal recoil and it's going to increase your bullet spread at long range. So it's a more of a close to mid-range attachment, which, you know, works really well on certain weapons. But maybe there are some super secret patch notes that I'm just not aware of, because there are a fair amount of people out there that use the foregrip on the semi-automatic rifles, and I just cannot fathom why. Because you're using a weapon that really relies on accuracy. If you miss a shot, it probably is going to mean the difference between life and death. And to have an attachment that's going to negatively impact the weapon and make it so that you miss more often because of the bullet spread just seems kind of like an idiotic idea. So like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comment section below, is there some sort of weird benefit that the semi-automatic rifles get with the foregrip? I'd really like to know, because if that is the case, it would be a pretty big deal. As for the holographic recommendation, I think that is a fantastic choice. You had here that you wanted me to use this as a more of an aggressive recon, and that's exactly how I use the M417, because it does have such an amazing reload time. It's going to do well up close. It's got a great damage model, and because it doesn't have the fastest bullet velocity, I already like to use this up close and personal, where I don't have to really be bothered with having to compensate for bullet drop. So right off the bat, the holographic scope is a perfect recommendation for an aggressive recon role, and I think it complements the weapon very well. But overall, I really enjoyed today's field test. I absolutely love the M417. Even though it had the foregrip, I still think it is a very fun weapon to use. I love the aggressive recon role, and the semi-automatic rifles in this game really allow you to do that, and in my opinion, they're just better in pretty much every situation compared to the bolt-action rifles. Bolt-action rifles are a lot of fun, by all means, but if you're looking for something that's very reliable, you're not going to have to, you know, make sure that every single one of your shots is a headshot, then the M417 is going to just be an amazing close encounter medium range weapon that I think a lot of you guys are really going to enjoy. But that's it for today's field test, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, or just want to support my channel, I always appreciate it when you give my videos a rating, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more. But until next time, guys, have a good one, and take it easy.